What's happening, Wisdom Warriors? Back at it for another video. How's everybody doing? I want to get straight to the point. It's a gorgeous day today, but a little, nipply out there. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to take this one in this video, but I did want to talk about something that I'm going to be starting today. I'm taking a short class on learning. I did start reading about Akashic Records a while back, a few years ago. But I'm actually taking a live class today, actually, roughly about an hour from now. And basically deeper into the Akashic Records and reading the Akashic Records and reading my own Akashic Records, which is going to be really interesting. One other thing I want to show you guys. So remember I talked about this daily card that I pull from the tarot deck daily. Well, this is the one that came through today, which is the High Priestess. So if anybody knows what that means, if anybody resonates with the High Priestess, again, I'm still learning. Last week was only the first week in the class. Wednesday is going to be our second class. I started watching the recording, and but let's get into the video, man. I want to talk a little bit about depression and anxiety and panic attacks and things like that. What I've learned over the years, and how I've dealt with a lot of depression and anxiety myself. I spoke about it a little bit on some videos about how, anxiety at one point for me was immense. It almost got to the point where I couldn't even go to the mall, driving to the mall without experiencing anxiety. And just randomly, years ago, well over 5 years ago, because 5 years ago, I had that tower moment, that rock bottom. And I know a lot of people disagree with parts of this, but I feel like from what I've experienced and what I've seen around me, when we go through these dark moments or tower moments or dark nights of the souls or experiences like that where they are just ravishing and rocking us to our core, bringing us to our knees. What if we didn't have those experiences, right? And you didn't you didn't make it onto the other side of that experience, then how could we have that ability to speak about it and how we overcame it with others? So if we didn't have that opportunity to where we went through it and we hit rock bottom. I remember this spiritual teacher that I was watching, or I don't know if she considers herself really a spiritual teacher, but she has a huge following, and I'm going to do a name drop because I will tell you this. I started looking, back in 2020 and even back in 2017, and I think even before that, I stumbled upon Gabby Bernstein. And I've read many books of hers. The Universe Has Your Back. I have almost a lot of her books, to be quite frank. I used to belong to her Miracle membership. I just felt like as I started to grow and evolve, it started to change. And that kind of happens on our journeys where we resonate with somebody like I did Jay Shetty. And then it changed, and but getting back to Gabby Bernstein, her story was very similar to mine, but at the same time, a bit of a difference. I was dealing with drug addiction. I was dealing with porn addiction. I was dealing with video game addiction, sugar addiction, alcohol addiction, you name it, smoking. That was probably the longest throughout my life because I started that at a really young age. And it took me falling and getting back up and falling, getting back up many, many times before I finally said to myself, I have to go cold turkey. I can't do this anymore, like trying to wean off. It just doesn't work. I had to cold turkey this thing. And mind you, the way I grew up with a father who was very disciplined with certain food, mainly food, but very, very mentally disciplined. And so our stories were very similar in retrospect to like the drug addiction and the alcohol addiction and her hitting rock bottom and basically having to be peeled off the pavement. I found that in numerous times in my life. And if she didn't live to tell that tale and live to tell that story, she wouldn't have helped millions of people. I mean, first of all, she has a huge following on all the major platforms, and she's done lectures around the world and written New York bestsellers and all this stuff that she has been able to take her story and turn it around into a positive light to help others because she dealt with massive anxiety, massive depression. I saw a glimpse into some of her story on Gaia TV. She has a small, intro about her on there, which was phenomenal. She was big into Kundalini yoga, which I have been. She's a yoga teacher. I mean, the list goes on, but it's almost like I look back at my dad in '97. If he didn't overcome having a week to live, he would not have been able to help all the people that he helped, including myself, because he volunteered for over 5 years after he overcame the challenge in '97 of fourth stage Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. So there's a lot of misconceptions about us. Why do we have to go through these tower moments or dark moments or go through these life challenges that create immense pain? But then it can be done in a different way. It can be done in love. But then if you don't have these moments, how could you come out on the other side and not live? And now you can live to tell that story and how you overcame it to help someone else that's potentially going through something similar. And I'm getting chills kind of speaking about this because it's like I've come out on the other side numerous times with addictions, with being super overweight, self-esteem, confidence. I mean, literally, majority of my life, I went around with completely no self-esteem, no self-worth, no self-value. I didn't know what I wanted or who I wanted in my life, who I didn't want, what I didn't want, what I didn't like, what I did like. I didn't know any of that. And I speak about that on other videos, but I'm going in a little bit deeper in this one. And, because I haven't gone fully deep in and really became vulnerable to you guys and really shared some of my story. It's going to take a lot more videos to share what I've gone through and what I've experienced from the bullying. I feel like the bullying led me to the lack of self confidence, the lack of self worth, just feeling alone. Like I'm the only person on this planet, even though there's like billions of people. I walked this path alone. I've felt like I've been the only one. I felt very lonely, and even though people gave love, and again, I didn't have many friends. Most of the people were just bullying me and picking on me and beating up on me and emotionally abusing me and just really horrific things that not only that emotionally but physically too. I also dealt with my head being put in the toilet and many other things that I may have not spoken fully about on here, but as I said, as time goes on, I'm going to go deeper and deeper because I know there's people that can resonate. But you see, the thing is, once you have gotten on the other side, and there is a way, but I can tell you when you're in that depression and you're in that anxiety, you feel like there's no way out. You feel like there's no way out. And that's how I felt. I went to acupuncture, I went to all kinds of things, numbing out in all different ways, because I was lost and I didn't know a way out, and I didn't have self worth, and I didn't have self esteem. I mean, mind you, I couldn't even. There was majority of times that I couldn't even look women in the eyes. I had such low self esteem. I had no love for myself. I didn't care about myself. I was abusing my body, putting poison in it, drinking, numbing, drugs, like I said, porn, you name it. Every vice you can think of, food, I found it, to numb out and run. And the biggest thing that I was doing was running from myself all the time and people pleasing. That was another big thing that I learned to gain self love and self acceptance outside of myself. Again, going to the gym 7 days a week, 3 hours a day, gave me that self confidence that I didn't have internally from the external, because, oh, what woman didn't like a jacked up bulk man that goes to the gym every day? What woman isn't attracted to that? And if that's you, drop it in the comments. Love to hear your story. But it's very easy to use the things in the external to fill the internal. And I was using that, like I said, I moved, and then moved out of state, thinking that's going to change my outer world. All these different ways to try to heal or fix the internal. I didn't know how to do it. I was trying to find books. I was trying to find ways. They felt like you were climbing a mountain, like Mount Everest. Like, that's how I felt. I picked up one of these anxiety books or depression books, and it felt like you were climbing a mountain. Like you were never going to get out of this. Like there was no way out. That was how I felt. Like no way out. And when all of this started, well, it started way before 2017, but I had a massive tower moment in 2017 where I realized that I was soul searching at that point. I had to soul search. I had to go on this spiritual path or spiritual journey. And but prior to that, I've spoken about finding books like The New Earth from Eckhart Tolle, and it was just sitting beside my bed collecting dust. That was, I don't even know when that book came out, probably in 2012 or maybe earlier than that. I was starting to do it, but I wasn't really showing much interest at that point because I was still very addicted to the external things to numb out. But again, I guess I was also trying to find my confidence through the internet, because that's how I found myself dating a lot, was online dating. Because here was one of the tricks that I used, or I thought I was using, was I would hook them in by chatting with them, sending them photos, and then after a while of speaking and chatting, we would then get on the phone, and there would be no way that you couldn't develop an emotional connection. And then, so you would develop that emotional connection before the physical, before actually meeting, but it didn't always fully work because I had people that I was talking to a year, and then we met in person and there was nothing there. So it didn't fully work all the time, but it did work sometimes, where the online dating would then lead to us finally meeting up. But by the time we met up, we already had a connection built, or a foundation built, so I thought. But then what ended up happening as we met up, it just turned into a friendship versus something romantic. So, I was testing different waters because I didn't have the self-confidence to just, boom, walk up to somebody randomly in a supermarket and just start rapping with them. I didn't have that. And it was very difficult. But as time has gone on, and putting in that deep inner work and that deep healing within myself, and realizing who I am and what I want and what I don't want, and who I want in my life and who I don't want, and what I'm willing to put energy into and what I'm not. It takes a lot of being in nature, meditating, yoga, spiritual talks with the universe, spiritual talks with yourself and your higher self, to then realize what you want and who you are and the value you bring and the value you are and the worth you are, and that money's not higher value than you. All these different things you start to realize, and you start to see how important you really are. And you give the self-love to yourself, which I wasn't doing. I was giving it to everyone else but myself. And then you start to realize, when you sit and you do breath work and you do yoga and you take the time out for yourself to do these things, and you speak out when you need to leave a conversation, because you know that if you continue in that conversation, you may react and say things that you don't really think you want to say, or that you will regret saying. And you start to really look at your life and really realize what you've been doing, and what and the reflection, I feel like, is the biggest shadow work you can do, and is the most profound, and gives you the most clarity on how you've been moving in your life, in what way, and how you don't want to do that anymore, do those things anymore, and how you will proceed in a different way and with different people. The choices you begin to make begin to become more, I don't want to say calculated, but more, you move in a different way and you react differently. And it just shows the work that you're putting in. When you can actually see that things are not going in the right direction, and you can say, wait a minute, I better take a step back. I better, reevaluate. Maybe I need to, continue this conversation at another time. Maybe this is not the right time. Maybe if I continue it, I'm going to regret something that I say. And that comes with a lot of awareness, and that is really powerful to have that awareness. And doing the breath work and going in nature and meditating and taking time for yourself and giving yourself self-love and valuing your body and valuing what you put in it. These are all ways of loving yourself. And it's taken me a lot of years to get to the place I'm at currently. And mind you, every day going forward is still a work in progress. And that's okay. That's okay. So, it's been some journey, let me tell you. And I've had my bouts with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and the numbing out and the vices and I can tell you that looking back every day when I do, I'm proud to be where I am currently, and I'm proud to be able to be on this side of the fence, telling my story and my journey to you, and sharing some of these dark moments that I have been through and have gone through. And I hope to continue to do this and continue to share and be vulnerable and transparent and authentic with you all. And I would love to hear your story. Little by little, we're growing subscribers. We just grew a little bit more, and now we have 39. And I'm proud to say we have 39 subscribers. I'm truly blessed and I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. I thank you for being a part of my journey and for us having this beautiful opportunity to walk alongside each other on this journey and on this path. And whatever you contribute to this amazing community, I'm truly blessed and grateful for that. Whether you subscribed, whether you comment, whether you like, whether you share, whatever you do to, you know, help get the word out and help get these messages around the world, because I'm called to drop these messages because somebody out there needed it. Somebody has been going through a dark time or depression or anxiety or mental struggles or physical struggles, and just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can get to the other side. I have personally, I'm still going through things that I'm working through on a daily basis, but just know that I watched my father overcome cancer twice, and then the third time he was working on it and it was his time. But the other times he came out on the other side with fourth stage, with 1 week to live. And he did it. And he powered through it. And he healed in all aspects, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And he came out the other side to tell his story over and over and over again. I watched him and listened to him over and over and over again tell his story to every person he met. He did not blink he did not, there was not an ounce of time that he did not speak his story. Whether it was to the cable guy, the garbage man, somebody we were selling something on the web and we were meeting him in person, and he told his story. He told his story to random strangers at the supermarket. He told his story in front of thousands of people at a healing center that he went to in Florida. For over 5 years, he volunteered there telling his story. There was not a time that he didn't tell his story and speak his truth, no matter what. No matter if those people didn't want to speak to him anymore, because many, many times he lost people in his life. We were on a vacation and he was telling his story to these bodybuilders that were all they did was eat tons of meat and protein, and they were laughing at him and ridiculing him for eating raw foods, and he was talking about his story, and the next day they never came back the rest of the trip. So this was a constant theme, and he was doing it in times that were not really, it was not as normalized as it is now. It's still not as normalized, but it's more normalized than it was in 1997. In 1998, 1999, and 2000. We have so many more plant-based things. More things are coming out with breath work and yoga and meditation and spirituality and eating alternatively, healing alternatively, eating vegan, plant based. It's all much more normalized than it was in 1997 when he was going through what he was going through. And yet, he stood strong and stood in his power and was authentic as you can get and transparent. And I will never forget this man because he stood in his power. And he knew that he had to bring this message to the masses. I just wish I could have had him on this channel and you could have met him and heard his story. But you'll hear it from me more and more as time goes on. But I'll tell you this much, man, he was not afraid to stand in his power and speak his truth, whether people did not like it or not. And they didn't. Trust me. I saw it firsthand. They didn't like it. Not many even wanted to hear him. And most of them never came back. And he lost friends and he lost family and he lost people because he spoke his truth. And he was as authentic as you can get. And transparent. And it's so beautiful when you can see somebody in their power like that and knowing their worth and their value and what they bring to the table. Because to be able to heal from 4th stage Hodgkin's lymphoma that was throughout his entire body with a week to live and literally on his feet, lifting shit, moving, doing things you couldn't even imagine for a person that went through what he did. I wouldn't even call it a miracle because I believe that we can heal. We just lost our way, man. We just lost our way. There's so much ways to numb out now and the addictions of so many things. And we want to just distract instead of going inside ourselves and healing. We have the answers within us to heal everything. And it was a lot different in 1997 as it is now. So there will be more to this story. This is just part one. I'm going to continue on this, going deeper and being more vulnerable with you guys and opening my heart and telling you my story. And, I've been through it all, man. I've been through it a lot and I'm still going through it every single day. But it doesn't stop me. And it won't stop me from coming on here and any other avenues that I'm working on behind the scenes that you guys don't know about yet, because we have a lot of change to help with on this planet and help us as we're going through this ascension process and this awakening process. More and more people need these messages. More and more people need to hear that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that you can do it. And when you get to the other side, you have the opportunity now to give it away and help somebody else that may be going through something similar to you. So I hope you enjoyed this message. I hope you continue to indulge in this content, because we're just getting started, man. We're just ramping things up. And, it's about to get joyous and amazing on this channel. And we're going to just share our stories in a safe, loving place. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you didn't, that's okay too. Please subscribe, please comment, please like, please share. I love you all so much, man. From my heart to yours. Let's go, Wisdom Warriors. We got this.